Welcome to Comic Run. I'm Justin.
I'm Matt.
I'm Kent.
And this is the podcast where we run to get comics and talk about nerd stuff.
Yay!
So what have we got this week?
So the new Batman Superman trailer came out.
Batman v Superman, not versus. V.
I just call it Batman and. I think that they're going to work together.
It's just a court case. They're going to be talking most of the
Yeah.
time.
The plaintiff, Mr. Superman. Clearly.
They already made that movie. It was called Unbreakable.
There is that.
A lot of talking about superheroes, but not necessarily being superheroes. Anyways.
I watched the trailer. I was unimpressed. I felt like they spent a lot of time doing big shots over Metropolis and talking, and not a lot of what's actually going on with Batman and Superman. Everyone's mad at Superman, and that's enough reason for Batman to get his suit out and kick his ass. It seems like we might be missing a few core elements somewhere in this.
Like the first Wonder Woman appearance.
Well, I think that it's an interesting concept. Like, it is totally Zack Snyder walking into a room going, okay, fucking Superman's God. Like, I mean, how much, what kind of, that has to make you question everything, right? Like, dude shows up, superpowers, ends in a super alien fight,
confirms we're not alone in the universe.
Yeah, and there's just like, well, fuck.
It would be a little bit disruptive to society.
Yes, but that's still not a reason for Batman to be like, all right.
Part of the problem with this is there's no Marvel or no DC cinematic universe. So, as far as Superman's concerned, I don't think that anyone has ever seen a super publicly in that film universe.
Yeah.
Because if we had some relatively normal human people who got powers, everyone wouldn't lose their crap when Superman shows up. But it's suddenly like guys who can level cities are fighting. It would be disruptive.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they develop that. Because, again, because there's Wonder Woman that's in the movie, there are rumors that there are going to be other Justice League people in the movie. There's going to be Lex Luthor in the movie.
Yeah.
So there's... You're throwing a bunch...
like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah, a lot of Scrabble pieces in the Scrabble bag.
Yeah, I think the trailer, they're like, well, what have we got that CG imagery we can do right now? All right, but we got a couple costume shots, and we got one cool line. And honestly, when you think about it, that line's not that cool. You bleed, and he sounds like a malfunctioning PA system, which I guess is the armor. You bleed, you will. And Superman's like, wait, you didn't let me answer.
I think
I can bleed.
I think they should have went with the same voiceover technology that they use whenever they do like interviews, where it sounds totally like a robot.
But and then I really thought that the zooming in on the Superman statue with the whole false god was really shitty. Really not good technology to do that. Like,
what do you mean? It didn't look real? You don't think they built a real Superman statue?
No, they did.
In Detroit.
They did. There's pictures of it.
So
the shot just didn't look good to you.
I mean, just kind of, yeah. It was like just for them, like.
You know what the most disruptive thing about that entire trailer was? I believe isn't it Holly Hunter doing the voiceover? She's using the same voice as she used for Incredigirl. And the whole time I'm like, well, if the Incredibles show up, I'd watch it. But if no Incredibles and Underminer, I don't know if I really care. But it sounds exactly like Elastigirl. Oh, I called her Incredigirl, right? Elastigirl. But anyway, you're like, what? Is this a crossover movie?
I hope so.
Oh,
man. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, if Brad Bird directs it, I'll go.
I mean, I'll go see the movie. Absolutely. I'll probably be there sometime during opening weekend.
Yeah. I still haven't seen the Superman movie, the last one. Yeah, I didn't get around to it, and then it hasn't been.
Superman snapping people's necks would make her cry.
Probably. She was pretty upset about she was pretty upset at Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2.
A lot of neck snapping.
Have you seen the How It Should Have Ended for that?
No.
That all of the superhero-related How It Should Have Ended cartoons end with Batman and Superman in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And in that one, Peter's sitting there like, and he looks like he's been crying for days. They're like, oh, what are you gonna do? And then he pulls a gun on Batman, and he's like, Superman, turn back time or I'll kill him. And he's like, I think you want to think this through. I don't really do that anymore. He's like, she was my world. I'm at the end of my rope, man. He's like losing his crap over Gwen. Spoilers, if you didn't see Spider-Man, Incredible Spider-Man, or was it Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Whatever, the second set of bad Spider-Man movies.
It was not that bad.
They were alright. They weren't great. I still question an electric eel power plant that has no lids.
So,
and they bring that up in the house. Should have been, man, we should put a cover on this before somebody falls in.
somebody pointed out that the in that scene where Superman goes back in time, is that there's a lot of people think that he spins around the world so fast that he starts turning the world backwards.
No, he breaks the speed of light and goes backwards, and
he goes through time.
Yes,
yeah.
That is his view as time rewinds, because he's exceeding light speed.
Yes, but most people who probably watch this podcast, all eight of them probably know that already. I'm sorry, everybody.
He caused enough drag to spin the Earth backwards, throwing everyone off. Ah! Well, this didn't solve any problems. It just broke the Earth. Damn.
What's the there's a Justice League cartoon where Superman's like, I could move the Earth out of it. Maybe I can move the Earth out of the way. And Batman's like, I don't have a week to tell you why that's a bad idea.
Did we talk about the Star Wars trailer last week?
No, we did not.
Did anyone else get the feels watching it?
All the feels.
Get chills. I'm filled with renewed hope. I was optimistic before that they weren't going to ruin it.
New hope.
I'm feeling pretty okay about who they've got handling it. It looks awesome to me. I do love that everyone whined about how BB-8 looks like or B-88. What's the robot? B-88, I think. Yeah. They're like, oh, this effect looks really cheesy and fake, and they're like, well, it's a practical effect. Would you like to see it? And they rolled it out on stage, and everyone's like, oh, well, that's my new favorite thing. I want one for Christmas.
Yeah, everybody keeps saying that, like it's a practical effect, and I'm like, cool, like awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing it. So I'm assuming it's a wheel and
it's a head on a ball.
Yeah,
it rolls around. Yeah, they rolled it out on stage and had it chatter back and forth with R2.
Oh God. And 20 minutes of dialogue. If it was a George Lucas movie, there'd be 20 minutes.
This was at Celebration. They brought it out during the director interview, and so they were squawking back and forth while they were talking. They're like, that's enough of that. Get him off. The head just falls off the ball.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I am not getting my hopes up to see that I'm gonna I have a funny feeling that Millennium Falcon flight and that the previous Millennium Falcon flight are the exact same ones, and that's the only time that we're gonna see the Falcon. There's not gonna be much more than that.
Well, they built a full-scale model of the Falcon.
I think that there will be lots of discussions within the Falcon or around the Falcon.
But you don't think it's going to be an extended fight sequences?
No. It's not going to be get as much flight in probably, as much as it got in A New Hope.
Right. It was kind of the base of operations of two of the movies.
Yeah. So.
Which place are we going for lunch?
I think we got to go barbecue.
Okay.
Barbecue. So I'm already behind on time. Work stuff. I got to work. So anyways, but yeah, it's amazing. And just before I got in the car, I watched on Reddit this morning was the shot of Yoda throwing the Emperor across the room from the third episode.
Yep.
And it was just like, wow, just when everything is blue screen, how terrible it looks versus what the trailer has, where it's like, all right, well, let's actually throw up some banners, and let's actually, instead of having CGIing 100 people, let's have 100 people put on Star Wars, trooper uniforms and stormtrooper uniforms and line up, Instead of CGIing somebody blowing up in the air, let's actually have someone blow up,
And we actually had a contest. One of the fans got picked.
Yay! This is so exciting! Thank you guys! Woo!
This is the way I wanted to die.
I was when the first Transformers Michael Bay movie came out, there was a guy that was really active in the Transformers fan community on Usenet and stuff, and he was kind of one of the people everyone goes to for continuity checks and stuff, and he knows all the toilet. They hired him to come out and just kind of do a walk around the set and give him a nod, and he was talking about, well, I got to see the Prime's arm, the mechanical arm that the people sit in when they do a shot. He's like, it looks like it's going to be cool. He's like, obviously, they're new designs. They're not the toys from the 80s, but he's got to see Scorponok's tail in the desert. And he was like, holy crap, is that? And he said he walked up on it because he wasn't supposed to be in that area. He's like, that's awesome. And he said, and then he noticed all the wires running off of it. And he's like, is that decor? And he realized like his cell phone could have set the whole thing off. Like they were getting ready to blow it up. And he said he was like, he came walking back, and one of the production assistants like, oh God, you weren't out there, were you? He's like, no.
No, of course.
That whole set's gonna explode later. Oh, Michael Bay. Hey guys, lunch is ready.
Can we hear that? Like the beginning of Tropic Thunder.
I have not seen that movie. I need to.
For the first 5 minutes, there's a they're trying to get this scene going, and it's all production, and like everybody's got their handler, and Ben Stiller can't cry, and so there's, you know, all of a sudden like, I can't cry. Oh, hang on a second, if you love me. Like his handler comes over, and then, you know, Robert Downey Jr.'s handler comes over, and then the director, who's like specifically a play director, who this is his first movie, he like starts throwing a hissy fit, and he throws this thing, and he's like, and oh, I'm sorry, children watch this. Like,
no, they don't. Nobody watches this.
And he's like, damn it. And then Danny McBride, who's the demolitions expert, and he's got doing a bunch of racial slurs for the Vietnamese guys that are helping him because they're filming in Vietnam. And he's just like, he's like, wing bong, ping pong are up here, don't know dipshit, that's C4, get that the fuck away from me. And so he's up there, and he goes, he sees the guy throwing his fit, and he goes, that's the signal, go, go, go. And he hits he hits the explosions, and just goes on a tirade and there's just explosions going on everywhere, and like, were we filming? No, we were not.
That was probably expensive.
Exactly, that's what they're like. Then it follows up with like, they wasted. There's like, first day of filming, already $80 million over budget.
Nice.
Like, they've only been on set for 1 day, and the film is already 36 days behind schedule.
And we're back from getting comics.
Yay!
Yay! The last 5 seconds didn't happen.
And we're discussing Appleseed Con, which is
our local Comic-Con.
A local comic convention. Closest thing without having to drive to Indy. So who did you say is attending? Anybody relevant?
Jamie Hernandez.
And what is he notable for?
Matt?
Jamie Hernandez did Love and Rockets.
Love and Rockets. Okay, I have not read it. You guys are more knowledgeable about artists and writers than I am.
And there's some guys who are ordering commissions, and
there's a lot of locals.
Whatever, fuck all that noise. Let's talk about the real deal. So Convergence is happening.
Convergence is happening, and Secret Wars.
And then we've
starting.
got Battle World.
Yeah, Secret Wars is Battle World. And they're both basically the same plot. Smash all the worlds together and let the heroes fight.
So,
which is dumb.
A, how does that happen? Like, who... I mean, I'm guessing Marvel, like some Marvel guy that writes for Marvel must have like, oh, we got the leak of what DC's gonna do.
Well, those, you know how those guys are. I mean, you've listened to enough of Fat Man, you've listened to enough of artist, interviews where those guys switch sides all the time. And it's not like there's not enough marketing publicity to all the buzz is around,
So what seems to be different between the two, Secret Wars, Battle World, it is a world that is a patchwork of other realities, so there's an area from Old Man Logan, and there's a chunk of the alien world that Hulk landed on, and the Planet Hulk plotline, including also some What If comics and some different timelines. Ultimates Universe and 616 are merged, but they all have different zones on Battle World. And in Convergence, it is that we don't know what Telos is yet. He's something that Brainiac created. We don't know if he's the whole planet or if he's just an entity on this planet. But he apparently snatched chunks of different realities right before they were destroyed. and kept them on this planet, and they're all under domes. And the last issue, the first issue starts with him retrieving one of these realities, and right as he saves everyone from ultimate annihilation, he's like, they don't have a city left. Their city was destroyed. He's like, where's your city? Because the idea is he's going to put them all in a gladiatorial fight. If you don't fight, he kills your city. And they're the only one that doesn't have a city. And he's like, well, I was supposed to know there'd be a sign, so that must be the sign. Start the fights! And he takes the barriers down. So they don't have the old patchwork world. They just, like, they're on a barren, weird alien world, and then there's these domes, and each one has a different realities, home city. So there's a metropolis from What If Azrael Stayed Batman, and there's or Gotham, I'm sorry. There's a bunch of really weird ones that they picked. And they've done a lot of the alternate timeline Elseworlds for that.
Well,
I don't think either one of them is super good. Marvel seems to be using theirs in the interviews. They're talking about that it will change the comics going forward. I think they're going to use it as an excuse to do some things like, hey guys, Peter and Mary Jane are back together, and that whole selling their marriage to the devil never happened. Without using clones, they can undo some of the worst stuff.
Fuck-ups that they've done over the years.
And I think it also probably gets them around their whole rolling timeline thing of going, Tony Stark became Iron Man during the Vietnam War, Korean War, Afghanistan, so they can just go, okay, this is the new continuity going forward. Which basically means they're just doing Crisis on Infinite Earths.
So, with that aside, I just kind of wanted to take a little survey. What is you guys' favorite version of Batman?
I really like
not in a fight, but like just,
it's not like a decade thing, but I really, really enjoyed the ones after the Gotham Quake, No Man's Land.
Okay.
I really like Batman during No Man's Land. And then when they went into the whole Bruce Wayne murderer thing, where he was like, Bruce Wayne's not real, so I don't care anymore, and he pushed everyone away, I thought that was the start of a whole
Weird thing.
horror writing for about 5 or 6 years.
Ken, Batman.
Val Kilmer.
I like the Val Kilmer Batman. Specifically, I don't like Val Kilmer's Batman because, as Fat Man on Batman has taught us, anybody can be Batman if they have the voice and the mask, because the stunt double does all the work.
Yeah.
And you only have to deliver a couple yelled lines. But it's all in the movies. It's how well do they play Bruce Wayne, and I thought Val Kilmer was really believable as don't take me seriously, I'm Bruce Wayne. This is a diversion. And Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne was like this weird, brooding, like, that guy might be Batman.
The Keaton Batman is, because I've recently watched all the movies again, the Keaton Batman is the eccentric, like, that's that crazy. He's much more of a William Randolph Hearst, like they put him off as, like, where it's like, man, that guy's up in his lone tower, what a loon. Like,
Nobody hangs out with him.
I've heard rumors that he, collects his pee in a jar, and hence like the War Room. Like, who the fuck does this? Like, what's up with this? Seriously?
Who has a wicker armor?
Yeah, and hey, get an extra grand. Like, just throwing his money around. Like, what? Like, and so it's totally written off as like, man, that dude's weird. He's not capable of being Batman because he's not.
I think he might be special.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he eats paint chips, man.
And then Val Kilmer is, you're right. Val Kilmer does do it really well. Of like, I run an industry. I run an industry. I run this company. I'm very predominant. And there's a big separation between that and then this dark dude in the middle of the night that's fighting crime. But to seriously answer the question,
wait, that wasn't a serious.
That was not a serious answer. No.
Okay.
I really enjoy the Frank Miller, everything on the Frank Miller universe of Batman. I think it's really smart. I think it's well done. I think that the my suspension of reality is suspension of belief is pretty weak. Like, I don't. Like when Batman put on the suit and when Bruce Wayne put on the suit to break out during Batman Incorporated to break out of like a garbage dump that they got trapped in. And Lucius is like, wow, you seem to almost have the exact same height and weight as Batman. We're so lucky. Like, I'm just like, God damn it. Like, did you even have to say that? Now I'm ruined. This whole comic's ruined. But,
Root?
Ruined. Ruined is fine.
R-U-I-N-T. Root.
So anyways, I think the Frank Miller stuff is,
I like the Frank Miller stuff, like the idea of Batman having robots all over the city.
Yeah, like
and compensating for getting older with like wearing some really intimidating armor. But I hate the weird Max Headroom and 80s pop stuff. But like that part of it didn't age well. And then when they did DK2, it was like,
oh,
you're gonna keep doing this?
Yeah, I don't like the artwork in DK2.
It's terrible.
It was very jarring to me. And then the whole ending with Dick is just because Dick is a beloved character in DC Universe, and kind of brought the joy of being like, yeah, I was able to get over it. I don't know what your problem is, Bruce. Like, yeah, my parents died. I moved on, and yeah, I fight crime to make it a better world, but
I still have a social life.
I still have a social life. You know, things aren't super shitty. We're still billionaires. Well, I mean, you're a billionaire. I'm feeding off of you, but and Bruce is like, the darkness will always
darkness, no parents.
So, for Frank to be like, oh yeah, now I'm going to turn him into, you know, this villain that's going to get dropped into a volcano. Doesn't bode well to me. But yeah, but I think the Batman character himself in those comics is just awesome. Matt,
Kevin Conroy, Batman,
the Timverse.
You know, I might have to revise my statement to say old Batman and Batman Beyond. I really like old Bruce as I'm gonna shut the suit off, bring it back.
All right. So, how about favorite version of Superman?
Grant Morrison.
All-Star Superman? No?
Yeah.
That's good. I haven't read enough Superman. For me, it might be the animated series version.
There was a short paragraph that somebody wrote on Facebook that got put up on Reddit that had like a differing views of old school like pop Superman from like the 50s, and then kind of there was a whole time travel thing that was involved about going to like a darker, you know, Christopher Reeves-esque Superman. I don't know. Is Superman
Reeves isn't that dark, though. It's only the stuff that's inspired by that
gets
dark and weird now.
The Superman's a weird character because he was the original dude that has uncontrollable power, like unparalleled powers with any other superhero. You know that. Well, I mean, you could argue, you know, Shazam,
but he was the first big one that caught on with the public, and I think a lot of the challenges Superman's writing for him, giving him challenges when he's like, oh, he does everything.
I can move the earth, yeah. And so,
what is weird is that with the New 52, they had the perfect opportunity to kind of like scale him back, and they did in some of the Grant Morrison issues, but in general, it feels like right now, like he doesn't feel any less powerful or any less like he's still Superman.
They also did that in the early 2000s, didn't they? They like, oh, he can't breathe in space, and they changed a bunch of stuff. He just holds his breath real good. Really?
I think that's one of the reasons that my favorite version of Superman is the like Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen comic Superman from like the 1960s and early 70s.
Because it's really not questioned.
Yeah, it's not so much about, you know, him overcoming obstacles as to how he's overcoming the obstacles and the relationships that he has with the different people in his life. Like, it's really, and it's also just like super wacky. You know, there's like just
it's like, I brought Lois out into space. Whoops. Ha ha.
Not only that, it's like, you know, like all the covers from that era is like, you know, Superman's like just a total jackass to Lois Lane or Jimmy Olsen. Like, there's always something like just totally and utterly.
Oops, I left you on top of a building. There was a crime, and I forgot about you.
Yeah, and then you know, the word sobs
2000s. That was one of the first comics that I followed like every week when I started buying comics in college. And Superman was pretty good in that, but he wasn't always the core of it. He was just in there. It was such a great mix of heroes and good writing then, and then it all went downhill at one point.
All right, favorite version of Spider-Man. Do some Marvel characters.
We didn't even talk about the movie that was coming out.
I read a ton of Spider-Man when I was a kid, so late 80s, early 90s. Like, I remember having man.
I don't
know who was writing it.
Spider-Man with all the
No, before that.
Before that?
A lot of team-ups with Wolverine and Black Panther, that kind of stuff.
I'll flip it for you, Matt, and say that I like the Spider-Man of the more carefree Spider-Man, where he's just much more wacky, you know, and a lot of the great one-liners, and doesn't get. And I've only really followed Spider-Man from Superior, you know. I really haven't followed him that much, but I think that's what I liked so much about the Superior is that it wasn't like great power and great responsibility. It's much more like, hey, whatever, we're gonna fight some crime. It's gonna be good. You guys want to come along? This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, the Spider-Man I liked, it was one-liners, and it was always the going home to Mary Jane at the end of the day. They were married, but they lived in the crap apartment, and he was always dropping through the skylight at the end of the day. And then they tried to put all this weird drama in it. It was like, oh, Peter lost his job. Oh, Peter lost his marriage. Oh, Peter lost his hand.
Quitting smoking. It's really hard to quit smoking. I don't know if you've ever tried.
So I didn't like the drama centric stuff.
And now a very special cancer issue.
No. Which part? Oh, they're protecting the spots.
No, looks like there's one concrete there. You want to go write your initials in it?
That's good.
Spider-Man.
Real quick, your favorite Spider-Man.
I have no idea.
All right, and
you have to answer. Spider-Man 2099. That's your answer if you don't answer.
No.
Alex Morales? Or Miles Morales?
No, definitely not him.
What's wrong with Miles?
Spider-Woman?
He's okay.
Spider-Woman. Matt's his favorite.
Spider-Gwen.
And on that note, we'll see you.